Data lights up a sliver of the brain, but story can light up your whole brain. Here's how to stop being forgotten by lunch. Why smart ideas lose to the best told ones. I'm Michael Bruner. I help technical professionals get ideas to land and shape decisions. In this video, I'll walk you through 3 doors of the story matrix. That's how sticky ideas are built. Storytelling is a great way to communicate ideas so that they stick. Let's dive in by showing you what this looks like. 2 presenters. Same conference room, same 20 minutes, same leadership team. One gets forgotten by lunch, the other gets retold and shapes decisions. The difference is how much the brain got invited in. One just lit up a sliver of the brain and couldn't hold the room. The other used storytelling and lit up the audience's brains like a fireworks show. This is your audience's brain on data. This is your audience's brain on story. When you just read words off a slide, at best, you activate 2 areas of the brain that are responsible for decoding language. The words get parsed, meaning gets extracted, and the brain files the results in the same place that files expiration dates and parking lot numbers. Briefly, loosely, shallow, gone by morning. A well-told story doesn't just sit in one place, it activates and connects different areas of the brain. The visual cortex fires as it sees what's happening in the brain. The motor cortex fires as legs are running or people are wringing their hands with anxiety. The amygdala tags the moment with emotional weight. The hippocampus strings the events and scenes of the story along. The prefrontal cortex works the puzzle and pulls the listener forward. If you could see story on a brain scan, it wouldn't look boring. It would look like a fireworks display, orchestrated and coordinated and humming along to the beat of the storytelling. Your audience doesn't just want to listen to your story, they want to be invited in. If it grabs attention, they want to live it. They want to recreate it inside their brains. It deepens engagement and strengthens memory. The job is no longer to describe. The job is to invite the brain to recreate and rebuild the story from the inside out while you tell it. Here's how you do that. 3 doors to the story matrix. The first door is the pattern door. The pattern door is the prefrontal cortex. The higher order, pattern finding, puzzle solving, poetry writing part of the brain that makes us the most human. Here's what it's always doing. It's always looking ahead. It's a prediction machine. Even while your words are still landing, the prefrontal cortex is running forecasts. What's happening next? Is this good or is it bad? Where is it going? A brain with a puzzle to solve is a brain that leans forward. A brain with no puzzle left will start solving a different one, like whether to apply to Slack messages or figure out what's for dinner. The way to engage the pattern door is to provide the brain with a gap. Give it a puzzle to solve. Don't give the audience an answer. Give it attention. Give it a question. Let them work on it. Let it figure it out. Then deliver. Don't just give them the answer, 4. Give them 2 plus 2. Let the brain solve it and get the dopamine hit and prime it for what's next. 3 moves that do this well. Mystery. Open with an unresolved moment. I got a call on Tuesday that I've been trying to make sense of ever since. Give them a rhetorical prompt like, what would you have done here? It activates the same puzzle-solving circuit as the puzzle itself. The audience starts solving before you even finish asking. The unexpected turn. Set up a pattern and then break it. This is the Wizard of Oz trick. The whole thing starts in black and white and you think the whole movie's going to be black and white and then bam, it's color. The door opens and the color floods in. The brain thought it knew, but it reorganizes in just an instant. A brain with nothing to solve will solve you with dismissal, and you're more important than that. The emotional door. The seat of emotions is in the amygdala, the emotional part of the brain. The amygdala is famous for the fight or flight response, but it also does something that's really important for you as a communicator. It tags memories with weight. Anything that the amygdala touches is more important for the brain to keep, while anything it doesn't touch tends to be washed out by. Here's the hard truth. Data doesn't touch the amygdala, emotion does. And it's not the label of emotion that grabs the amygdala, it's the experience, the emotion itself. If we say she was frustrated, it's calling out the emotion. Your brain files it next to other facts like the sky is blue. It doesn't light up anything. It doesn't really earn any weight. Her knuckles went white on the coffee cup and she didn't say anything for a long time. That's an emotional rendering. You're painting a picture. The reader feels that the moment they hear it before they can even really name it. That's the amygdala doing its job. There's a mechanism at work here called mirror neurons. When you relive a moment on stage rather than just reciting it, your face did what it did back in the moment. Your voice goes the way your voice went. And because of a phenomenon called neural coupling, your audience's faces and voices start tracking with yours. They're not just watching you anymore, they're catching what you felt in the moment. The way to apply it: go beyond labeling emotions and try to describe them and paint the picture and relive them. Labeling emotions is a start, but you need to go further and try to render the moment that actually produced the emotion. Then your audience's brain can name it on its own, and that's more powerful. Data informs, emotion imprints. The sensory door. The sensory door opens to the brain sensory network. Neuroscientists call this the sensory cortex. The brain can detect and process a lot of sensory information. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to touch on the 5 that you're probably familiar with. The brain has dedicated regions for sight, for sound, for motion, for touch, for smell. And what's interesting is that those regions don't need the actual input to fire. Vivid sensory language can light them up from across the room. The way to apply it is to load the 5 senses. Don't just tell them that the sunset was beautiful. Tell them that it turned the color of purple and tangerines, and that the conversation on the porch just stopped on its own as people stared in awe at it. Don't just tell them that she walked in. Tell them that you heard the distinct sound of her heels in the tile before she even entered the room. Don't just tell them the hill was hard. Tell them that it felt like your legs were slogging through oatmeal and just burning, and you looked down thinking that smoke was going to be coming off of them. Texture. Don't just tell them that the handshake was firm. Tell them that it felt like an iron clamp. Lean into descriptive language a little bit more. Lastly, scent. This one's a cheat code. Smell bypasses the thalamus, the filter, and plugs directly into the limbic system where emotions and memory live. I still remember the smell of the homemade cinnamon rolls that my mom made one day when I came home in 3rd grade. 30 years later, I still make them every Christmas. 5 senses, 5 ways in, 5 doors within a door. The brain is waiting to use all of them. The brain doesn't want to just hear about the room, it wants to smell the coffee. Here's where the story matrix actually lives. Not on paper, not on slides, in people's brains like yours. Presenter A gave them words that the brain quickly forgot. Presenter B created an experience, a story that it wants to remember. One brain forgot, the other got fired up. This week, before your next important moment, try one thing. Pick one abstraction from your talk and replace it with a sensory detail. One smell, one sound, one motion, one texture. Not 10, just one. Just weave it into the conversation and see what happens. Adding it is like adding salt. It adds flavor. If this talk resonated with you, I recommend watching the audience principle to go a little deeper. It's the operating system under every technique here. If you know someone who's really smart, who's technical, and they keep getting out-communicated by people half as smart as them, share this with them. That's who I wrote it for. If you're interested, subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you more on how to connect with your audience. The audience doesn't just want your data or your slides. What they really want you to do is to relive your story. Let's help them open the doors to story.